Okay, hi out there, students of Jeff McVeigh, Chemistry 1. That's Chem 1341, Fall 2021. So if you're looking at your Canvas dashboard, you'll have different courses on your Canvas dashboard than I do, but this is how you recognize mine. It's General Chemistry 1, Chem 1341, Fall 2021. Let's open that puppy up and let's see what we got. So here is the home page that you will see. And if you go in here and you click on Get Started, you'll see my cute little video that I put together for you guys. Actually did it last summer, so I'm older now. But let's go back to the home page. You can click on that and watch that video. And let's get to the other modules. Now there's a course calendar, SI information, the Achieve homework. I've already shown you how to register for Achieve, and right now there's a little problem with the pricing, so you're using the 14-day grace period, and hopefully Macmillan, who's the owner of Achieve, will get that problem solved. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the syllabus. Now, I have combined both sections of I have two sections of chemistry, section 007 and chemistry 1341, section 013. We're just going to click on 007. Everything in this syllabus is going to be the same as the other section except for the days. For section 007, you meet on Monday and Wednesday at 5 p.m. in Centennial 157. This is my email address, wm14@txstate.edu. Here is your SI instructor, Lucy Reasons, which is an awesome name. She is your SI instructor. We'll get to supplemental instruction a little bit. And this is her email address. Please communicate with her through her email address or whatever Lucy tells you to do. I'm not going to speak for her. I will have office hours Monday through Thursday from 2 to 4 p.m. on Zoom. If you want to make an appointment, you can't meet during those Zoom office hours, 2 to 4 p.m. We can arrange to meet in other office hours. I can even meet sometimes in the evening. I'll do it from home like I'm doing this right now. These office hours are for both sections, not just one section. Okay? All right. So office hours, you can read this stuff that I put in here. Blah, 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 blah. Good for you to come to office hours. Okay? Canvas is our course administration site. I've just shown you how to access the site. You need a valid Texas State username and password. In all your communications with me, with your SI leaders, I am going to beg you, please use your Texas State email. I know most of you have Gmails or NetZero or some other email site. Please, for all our communications, stay within the Texas State email domain, and that will help clear up a lot of problems. All right, let's get to the elephant in the room, which is COVID. All right, and I've put a whole blurb. This was put out by the provost as far as COVID. We cannot command you. It is not a mandate in Texas to get tested, but we can certainly suggest that it's a very smart thing to do. And given that you are in a science class, we actually would like to follow the science and do what the science recommends. We recommend that you get tested. They're asking me to get tested every other week, and I will follow their suggestion. All right, and there'll be a kiosk. Right now, I think the kiosk is across from Flowers Hall, but I'm sure they'll update that and have more than one testing site. And just click on some of these links and you'll find out where you can get tested. We'll talk about what happens when you test positive or you get sick in just a bit. All right. stay home and get tested if you develop cold-like or other COVID-19 symptoms of fever, headache, cold-like symptoms. Most of you are young. Most of you probably aren't immunocompromised, but if you've been following the news, you know the Delta variant is harder on young people than the Alpha variant, which was our original variant that we started with. And guys, as long as COVID stays out there and there's an active population of people who have the disease, it's going to mutate. That's what viruses do to survive. They switch gears. Most of the mutations are going to be irrelevant to the virus, to its survival. Some of them may even be deleterious to its survival. It may not enhance its survival. It may actually do worse. But every now and then you're going to get a variant, a mutation, which favors its survival in the human population. I don't know, maybe there'll be a variation that favors cats or dogs or some other animal, but we'll see. All right, so promptly report to Bobcat Trace any positive test, and we're going to get to accommodations for missed assignments, principally exams, a little bit later in the syllabus, and you must have reported to Bobcat Trace if you test positive or you get sick, okay? In order for you to get those accommodations. We'll get to that later. So quarantine, if you've been identified as a close contact to somebody else, I'll show you how we're going to keep track of that in these face-to-face classes. And this is a face-to-face class. I will not be streaming my lectures, but I do have a way that you can keep up. I'll show you that in a bit. Okay, so fully vaccinated bobcats who are asymptomatic are not required to quarantine, but you must be tested for COVID-19 3 to 5 days after the last exposure. They should also wear a face mask when indoors. Now, if you test positive, yes, you're going to quarantine. But if you're asymptomatic and you come in contact with somebody, you're not required to quarantine, but you got to get tested within 3 to 5 days from that exposure, okay? You're on the honor system with respect to that. Okay, so unvaccinated bobcats are required to quarantine for 10 days after the last exposure. Face covering vaccination protocol per standing guidance from Governor Abbott, executive orders, and confirmed by the Texas State University System Office and Vice Chancellor and General Counsel. University is not able to require face coverings or vaccinations, but I got to tell you, it's the smart play. Here's how I think about it. So you're driving your car. You have a number of tools that keep you from having an accident. You got a steering wheel. That's a very good thing to have in a car. You got brakes. That helps you stop the car. And normally with steering wheel and brakes, and of course an engine, that's all you need to stay out of trouble. But just in case you wind up in a bad situation, you got a seat belt. And if you wind up in a really bad situation, you've got airbags. All of those different tools are designed to mitigate any kind of a catastrophic effect on your health while you're driving a car. Are they all perfect? Absolutely not. Airbags won't save every person from catastrophic injury or death. The seatbelt will not save every person from catastrophic injury or death, nor will the steering wheel, particularly if you are irresponsible in the way that you handle your driving, and neither will the brake system on your car. It has to be maintained. And so you can think about masks and vaccinations as being tools that mitigate the danger to you. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. Social distancing also falls into that realm. So try and be the smart person and pay attention to your own health, because I have people in my life who have been dramatically affected by this disease. And I got to tell you, you don't want it. I'm 71. I really don't want it. And I am fully vaccinated. And when I'm eligible for the booster, I will get it as well. All right. And I wear a face covering in the class. I don't, not because I like it. I don't. But, and I'm also going to, if you approach the bench where I speak from most of the time, I'll say, hey, hold on. Just keep your distance. Because I'm trying to do the right thing for myself and for you. Okay? So pay attention. All right. What do we do if you pop? Okay, pop a positive test or you get sick. So here's the accommodations that I'm willing to do. Accommodations beyond the standard syllabus provisions may be provided for students who are in quarantine as defined by Bobcat Trace. That means that Bobcat Trace is a player in that determination of whether you get an accommodation or not. Due to close contact exposure or positive COVID-19 test. To receive these accommodations, students must do the following. Communicate with Bobcat Trace within 24 hours of knowledge of an exposure or positive test. Communicate with me, Mr. McVeigh, via email. And here's my email address again. Within 24 hours of knowledge of an exposure or a positive test. And I will put it in my hip pocket. I'll put you on a list. Forward the email from Bobcat Trace describing the quarantine instructions to me. There's my email address again. Can't miss it. Within 24 hours of receiving the email. Communicate with me before missing an exam in class. That's before. Accommodations may include an alternate exam in a different format from the original assignment. I'm not going to give you the same test that if you miss an exam because of COVID, I'm not going to give you the same test everybody else has. That would be crazy. I will give you a different test. It may be another instructor's test. You are better off taking my test than a test from some other instructor. The reason being, I tend to give clues, hints, what's going to be on the test. I'll put a preview of what's going to be on my test. And if I do give you another instructor's test and I think there's a question on there that's inappropriate based on what I've taught you, I will absolutely eliminate that question from the scoring of your test. I'm fair about my testing, but you are still better off taking my test. I promise you that. All right. So students, if we cannot arrange a time when you can take an exam at an alternate time face-to-face after you've gotten through your COVID quarantine, I may decide to give you the test online via Zoom, and I proctor those exams. And I'll try and organize it so that it's a convenient time for both you and for me. And I'll show you how to do that once we get to that point. I'm going to try and avoid that all semester long. I had to do it all semester, actually all year last year, and I hated it. It really was awful, and it did not produce a good result. But I do have exams ready to be loaded into Canvas for testing if necessary. All right, if possible, an alternative schedule for face-to-face is preferred, and I will try to do that. Keep in mind that the makeup exam's not the same exam during the regular class period, okay? So I've sort of given you that. All right, hopefully you can read that, you can interpret it, and know what the rules are. All right, I'm just going to kind of skim through that. You can look through this: critical thinking, communication, empirical and quantitative skills, teamwork, etc. All right, required text is the interactive general chemistry textbook. You get that bundled with the Achieve homework platform. You also get the iClicker student mobile app that we're going to use to take attendance and to keep track of where you're sitting in the classroom should I need to report that to Bobcat Trace. All right, so you need to watch the Achieve registration video, which is only about 5 minutes long, and sign up at this point in time using the 14-day grace period until Macmillan solves the problem and lowers the price from $89.99 to $54.99. If you had to buy an access code at the bookstore, you'll use that access code. But if you weren't forced to do that, I'm recommending that you simply go into Achieve within the Canvas course and pay for it there. It's a lot cheaper. All right. All right. So at any rate, yeah, it's marked up at the bookstore. Hopefully this video won't get out to the bookstore, who may object to my telling you that. All right, so we're going to use the iClicker mobile student app, and it's really easy to download that, register for it, because you get it free if you go in through Achieve within Canvas, because I've already synced my courses on Canvas with iClicker. If you go outside of Canvas and to get your iClicker mobile app, it's going to cost you $16 to register, and there's nothing I can do about that. So I've made it available within Achieve. All right. So you're going to need a Zoom account for office hours. You do that through Texas State, so you'll need to do that as an authenticated user. And you want to come to office hours, and if you want to meet with me, it's all Zoom. I don't want any meetings face-to-face in my cramped little office on the 3rd floor, room 302. Okay, you can also call me, and my phone number is at the top of the syllabus. All right. But unless I'm in the office, I'm probably not going to respond to you. Email's the best way to communicate. For your exams, I don't care what calculator you use for your quizzes, because you're going to do those online. You're going to do your homework online. You can use any calculator you want. But for exams, no graphing calculators, no using cell phones. It has to be a non-programmable scientific calculator. In class, I will show you the one that I prefer. It's the TI X2S2, the TI X2S2. And I'll put a picture of it in Canvas so you can see. They're like $15 virtually anywhere. All right. I don't know when labs start. It'll probably be 2 weeks from the start of classes this week. But go to your lab instructor or your lab syllabus for that. Supplies, Achieve, Learning, IGC, and all those instructions are there. Communication. I will send out announcements, probably fairly frequently, through Canvas. Those will go to your Texas State email. You need to make sure that your Texas State email is working with Canvas. It probably already is. You can look in there. You've probably already gotten an email from me. All right, here's the grading scale. 5% for the online homework. That's through Achieve. 10% for the online quizzes. That's through Achieve as well. And all the links to those will be in Canvas. So you won't have to go outside of Canvas for any of this stuff. The exams are 60%, 4 exams 15% each. The final exam is also worth 15%. If you don't take the final exam, you lose 15% of your course grade. So that essentially makes it mandatory, because not too many people can survive that. 5% for participation. That's the iClicker student mobile app. And 5% for SI participation. This is supplemental instruction, is absolutely required in this course. Don't let anybody tell you different. It is worth 5% of your grade. So if you don't participate in SI, you lose 5% of your course average. Now, I give an extra credit of 2.5% for accuracy on your iClicker mobile app questions that I asked during class, Remember, I will not be streaming classes this semester. It is a face-to-face class. All right? Here is the normal grading scale. Mine will vary a little bit, but in general, just take a look in that. That's the general grading scale. Coursework. These are the chapters. Exams. Here are the tentative exam dates. Now, other than COVID, what I do at the end of the semester after you've taken the final exam is, if your grade on the final exam is higher than one of your regular exams, I will replace the lower grade in the regular exam with the grade on the final exam, but only if it's higher. If you miss an exam, not due to COVID, but you miss an exam, I will replace that missed exam with the grade on the final exam. So as long as you don't miss 2 exams, you won't have any zeros for regular exams, because you'll get a replacement with the final exam. That is, assuming you take the final exam. For the Monday-Wednesday class, your final exam is on December the 6th, 5 to 7:30. If you're in the Tuesday-Thursday class, your final exam is on December the 9th. And I believe that is Thursday. Okay? All right. So final exam will be the American Chemical Society 70 multiple choice question exam with a time limit of 110 minutes. That's about 1.54 minutes per question, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. Okay? All right, quizzes, they'll all be through Achieve, they'll all be posted, and they are all open book. They're worth 10% of your grade. Homework's only worth 5% of your grade. But don't miss it. You can't afford to lose 5% of your grade. So there are no makeup quizzes because they're online, and you should be able to manage that. Okay? So, and I allow a fairly liberal time period. I also do this. Let's say you take your quiz and you get a bad grade on it, okay? You get a 50 on it. You said, I think I can do better. So you can take it again. Now you will lose 5% of the total value of the quiz. So instead of 100%, it's now worth 95%, but you might feel like you're better equipped to take it the second time. And once you start taking the quizzes, you'll see why. Now, if you still want to try again, you can take it for 90% of the total value of the quiz. So let's say you've really dialed in. You started out at a 50, and then you improved it to like a 70. And you say, I'm going to take it the third time. You got an hour. You got to get all 3 attempts in within the hour. They're mostly only 10 question quizzes at most. And you take it again and you get a perfect score. Well, you get a 90 on it, okay? Because you lost 5% each time you took the quiz and decided to take it again. But you got a better score because, I'm perfectly okay with that, all right? So at any rate, you're on your own with that, with respect to that. All right, Achieve registration process. There's a video for doing that. Please look at the, go into Achieve homework and look at that. This tells you a little bit about that. $55, accessing Achieve. What did I do? Have I got? Okay, I think this is maybe a little bit new information, but we've already talked about most of this. Lecture is face-to-face. Try and be on time. Have your mobile app out. If you walk into class late, my suggestion is already be dialed into the mobile app and ready to answer a question, because I may be asking a question when you get in there. And by the way, here's what we're going to do. I'll post a seating chart for every seat in whatever. We're in 2 big theaters, Centennial 157 Monday, Wednesday, Alkek 250 Tuesday, Thursday. I will post a seating chart in Canvas. You can look at that. You can download that thing and look at your seat when you get to your seat. Most of them will be numbered. And I will ask somewhere During the lecture, I'll ask you, this is the seating attendance question. And what I'll do is I'll make it available to you to put in your username and seat number so that we can keep track of where you're sitting in case somebody around you tests positive. You got a huge amount of room in there, guys. So best thing to do is social distance, and you're really never going to have the problem of having a close exposure. But I can't forbid you guys sitting next to each other if you really want to sit next to each other. Use your best judgment, all right? By the way, when you're taking your exams in class, you absolutely will not be sitting next to each other. That's a whole different animal that we will deal with at that point in time. So don't think you're going to be cheating off of each other, okay? During the questions I ask in class, you are perfectly free to converse and answer those questions collectively. Find some smart people to sit around, all right? I'm going to let SI talk to you about SI attendance. The bottom line, from my point of view, you got to attend 10 sessions between August 29th and November the 8th to get your full 5% or 5 points for attendance. That's the way I added in. Be punctual, stay for the entire session. Don't try to work your SI instructor because they are under very strict orders not to allow you to work them. All right, you got to be there for 40 minutes or more. Work on, let's see, you got to work on the materials that your SI instructor presents, and these guys are good. Okay, I know both your instructors, and they are good at this course. And if you haven't heard, chemistry's a beast. All right, and I'll talk to you a little bit about it when we get to class tomorrow or Tuesday. Grading issues, please come to me within a couple of weeks of a grading issue. After that, not going to entertain it. Automatic deadline, October the 21st. You will have had a couple of tests by then, and so you're going to want to make your decision after the second test, I believe. All right, honor code, don't cheat, guys. I had to bust a bunch of people last semester. It's painful for me. It's more painful for you. Okay, I really hate when stuff like that happens. Be respectful. Be honest. All right? If you're communicating online with people, please be nice. Be smart about, if you disagree, you disagree. It's very popular online to get into fights with people because people feel anonymous online. Keep in mind, whatever you put online is there forever. You put a video up online with you showing the world what a nincompoop you are. Your nincompoopness is frozen in time for the rest of your life. There you are, 80 years old. You're watching yourself be a fool online. Okay? And don't think that potential employers don't look that stuff up. They've gotten real savvy. If you've got Office of Disability Services requirements for me, just bring them to me. I'll deal. I wonder, you know what? I'm not sure exactly how we're handling that this semester. I will talk to Disability Services and see. But no worries, guys. Got your back. Okay? Diversity Connection resource for Office of Student Diversity. Here's the deal. Guys, you are in college and in the world going to deal with people who don't sound like you, look like you, speak the same language that you do. You are all human beings. Please respect each other. Don't make enemies out of people who don't need to be your enemies. Your bias, your prejudice, whatever it happens to be, and we all have bias and prejudice. You don't need 99% of that weighing you down and preventing you from getting what you want in life. We're, you know, I was born in 1950. I didn't grow up with the internet. I have lived through the civil rights movement and watched my country get better in some respects than it was. And my hope before I die is that it continues to become a better country for everybody who lives here. And we got a lot of work to do. And the first thing you can do is work on yourself. And don't come from the point of view is that you're only going to talk and be friends with people in your own tribe. We are tribal. Stretch yourself. Grow a little bit. Become an adult who doesn't need to hate people just because they look, sound, or speak differently than you do. You might be surprised. I know I am. Okay? All right. All right. Homepage for counseling, sexual assault, resources, sexual misconduct. That comes under Title IX. It's illegal. Come on. I know you're young. I know you're energetic. I know you're enthusiastic. But I think it all boils down to having respect for other human beings. And the same respect that you would expect somebody to have for you. Please, don't go into that territory. It is a dark, dismal territory that you will regret if you enter. All right? Take care of each other. Take care of each other. All right, here is a calendar. I've also put this in the calendar space. That's a 31-minute, 29-second video, guys. And I am not going to spend another moment on it. And I'm not going to do this in class. So this is your briefing on the syllabus. What you need to come into class with are questions. And we can handle those hopefully fairly quickly and get to the chemistry. All right? So that was it. I'm tired. You're tired. Let's put an end to this madness.